Psycho killers have captivated the media, but what goes on inside their minds? Criminal psychology is the study of the minds of criminals. I am primarily focused on what goes on in the minds of killers. The secret to what makes them tick lies in the brain. Violent behaviors and aggressive thoughts come from a malfunction in the frontal lobe of the brain. The frontal lobe, which constitutes approximately 1/3 of the cerebrum, extends from the anterior of the brain to the central sulcus. Due to its unique network, formation, and position, it has an important role in the functions of aggression, violence, and antisocial actions. The limbic system lies at the center of the brain. It generates emotions like love, hate, and anger. The cortex, which is the thinking, socialized part of the brain, governs these emotions to prevent humans from acting on irrational or inappropriate impulses created by the limbic system. When the cortex fails, the limbic system and its emotions that it has released have nothing to hold them back. Early signs of trouble with the frontal cortex is attention deficit disorder or hyperactivity. These are results of brain damage at birth. Because they lack the ability to pay attention, children with ADD often develop a spiral of frustration and fury, simply because they are tired of people trying to tell them how to behave. This can potentially lead to bullying and a lifetime of aggression. Ritalin is a stimulant that shocks the cortex into governing the limbic impulses. It is really important to give ADD kids Ritalin because they can learn to control the impulses at an early age. Some ADD children and adults choose to self-medicate with tobacco and nicotine. For ADD patients, these drugs, if used in the right amount, help benefit the user. Sadly, depressants like alcohol have the opposite effect. The cortex then becomes even less effective and allows the limbic system to run wild. Not all killers have ADD. Sometimes they are a product of mental abuse or strain at a young age. Another factor is brain damage, which can result in extreme and violent behavior. Brain damage can also lead to episodic discontrol. It is a rage attack where an individual will lash out when having a seizure. It's an electrical storm in the brain, and once started, there's no telling when the rage attack will end. It could be 15 minutes or even 2 hours. The only cure is an anticonvulsant drug, which suppresses the storm. Now let's get into what a psychopath is. Psychopath combines the Greek terms psyche, which means soul, mind, or spirit, and pathos, which means suffering or disease. Psychopaths are individuals with diseased minds. Psychopaths are often referred to as people with personality characteristics such as ruthlessness, fearlessness, mental toughness, a charismatic personality, and a lack of empathy. In Europe, prior to the Enlightenment, psychopaths were often referred to as lunatics, witches, or victims of demonic possession. This was later called moral insanity. Psychopaths exert such a strong grip on our imaginations because they are the most violent and merciless killers. But how do they evade the authorities? They defy the police by striking multiple times, killing repeatedly, and purposefully leaving clues. They exhibit a thirst for morbid glory. They act compulsively, motivated to kill over and over again until they get caught. Leonardo Cianciulli was one of the most disturbing and horrifying killers of her time. Leonardo is notoriously known for making tea cookies and soap out of her victims' blood and flesh. Her weapon of choice? An axe. In her early life, Leonardo tried to commit suicide 2 times. Later, when she married, her family disapproved. She suffered 3 miscarriages and lost 10 of her children when they were young. This gave her a strong sense of protection for her remaining 4 children. When her son decided to join the army, Leonardo felt that the only way to save her son from certain death was to sacrifice her neighbors. She lured her 3 victims by pretending to be a fortune teller. It was there that she gained their trust. She killed each of the women the same way, with an axe. She drained each of their blood and dried it to form a powder to make her cookies. For the soap, she melted her victim's flesh and mixed it with a soap base. She gave both the soap and the cookies to her other neighbors. It is said that the loss of her children caused serious damage to her mental state. It might be an explanation on why she murdered these 3 women. By studying the brains of criminals, scientists can pinpoint the reasons they committed such violent crimes. By doing this, they can prevent certain things from going unchecked, allowing a safer community for all and less criminals who commit violent crimes.
In the home, basically, I was a normal person. I wasn't some guy hanging out at bars or a bum. I wasn't a pervert in the sense that, people look at somebody and say, I know there's something wrong with him.